We start the day's other headlines at the Supreme Court, which is taking up a challenge to Colorado's ban on conversion therapies for LGBTQ+ children. At issue is whether the Colorado law violates the free speech protections of counselors engaged in the controversial practice. The justices have already heard arguments in a Tennessee case that examines the legality of state bans on treating transgender minors. Also today, the court turned down a Republican attempt to block 5 Democratic-led states from suing oil companies for allegedly hiding the impact of fossil fuels on climate change. In the North Sea, a cargo ship collided with an oil tanker carrying jet fuel for the U.S. military. The tanker was anchored off the northeastern coast of England near the port of Grimsby when it was struck this morning. The collision triggered multiple explosions, with fuel pouring into the North Sea. A major rescue operation ensued. The container ship's owner says 1 crew member is still missing. According to local officials, all 36 others across both vessels are safe and accounted for, with 1 hospitalized. An investigation into what caused the crash is now underway. Ukrainian officials tell the Associated Press that a delegation will propose a limited ceasefire with Russia in talks with top U.S. diplomats tomorrow. That would cover the Black Sea and long-range missile strikes, plus the release of prisoners. They also say that Ukraine's delegation is ready to sign a deal that would allow the U.S. access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals. Secretary of State Marco Rubio arrived in Saudi Arabia this evening, where the negotiations will take place. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is also there. He met with Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince this evening, but is not expected to join personally in tomorrow's talks with the U.S. In Syria, the interim government has reached a breakthrough deal with the Kurdish-led Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF. The group is backed by the U.S. and controls the country's northeast. Today's agreement brings most of Syria under the government's control. It also includes a ceasefire and the integration of the SDF into the Syrian army. Also today, the government announced that a military operation against loyalists of ousted leader Bashar al-Assad has ended. Last week, gunmen opened fire on a police patrol, which led to some of Syria's worst fighting since the end of the civil war. Incoming Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is promising a quick transition as he's set to succeed Justin Trudeau in the coming days. He's then expected to trigger an election in the days or weeks ahead. Carney won his party's leadership vote in a landslide this weekend. The former Goldman Sachs executive and central bank governor has already taken a tough line against President Donald Trump's tariff plans. Carney said he will keep Canada's retaliatory tariffs in place until, quote, Americans show us respect.
We didn't ask for this fight. We didn't ask for this fight. But Canadians are always ready when someone else drops the gloves. So the Americans, they should make no mistake, in trade as in hockey, Canada will win.
Carney went on to call these, quote, dark days brought on by a country we can no longer trust. Trump has postponed his planned 25% tariffs on many goods from both Canada and Mexico until next month. In Rome, doctors say that Pope Francis is no longer in imminent danger, but they aim to keep the 88-year-old pontiff in the hospital for several more days due to, they say, the, quote, complexity of the clinical picture and the important infectious picture presented on admission. Pope Francis entered Gemelli Hospital more than 3 weeks ago, where he's been treated for double pneumonia. Doctors say Pope Francis has been receiving supplemental oxygen, but has been able to follow a week-long spiritual retreat at the Vatican via video conference. In Washington, D.C., workers began removing Black Lives Matter Plaza today. The giant yellow letters were installed in June of 2020 after days of protests there over police brutality in the wake of George Floyd's murder. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser, a Democrat, ordered the renaming of the intersection as an act of defiance during President Trump's first term. Last week, she announced the removal of the plaza amid pressure from Republicans in Congress. The work is expected to take about 6 weeks. The yellow letters will be replaced by an unspecified set of city-sponsored murals. Elon Musk is blaming a massive cyber attack for a series of outages that affected his social media platform X today. According to tracking website downdetector.com, tens of thousands of users reported outages at multiple times during the day, starting at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. Writing on social media, Musk said, quote, "We get attacked every day, but this was done with a lot of resources. Either a large coordinated group and/or a country is involved." Experts say it's not possible to verify Musk's claims of cyber attack without seeing technical data from the company. Still to come on the NewsHour, the State Department cracks down on foreign students who've protested the war in Gaza. And Tamara Keith and Amy Walter break down the latest political headlines.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington, and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.